equipment adverse incident reporting, and equipment, what all records you need to maintain under this clause will be discussed in the last 6.4.7. So journal is like what all need to be done in a laboratory. The process is required for selection. You will procure it. What will be the pre-installation guidelines? What is the acceptance testing? What is the handling instructions for equipment? How you should transport it? What is the maintenance required for your equipment? Decommissioning of the equipment when it is required? So all this come under the journal that you should have a process for it. You have to make a process. Laboratory equipments include all kind of equipment, any hardware, software of instrument, measuring systems, lab information systems, or any equipment that influence the results of your activities. It includes all small and big equipments like pipettes, centrifuges, auto analyzers. It includes everything, including those equipments which are for sample transportation systems. Then equipment requirements. What is the requirement of the equipment? Laboratory shall have access to equipment required for correct performance of lab activities. We should have an access to the equipment first. Second is where the equipment is used outside the lab's permanent control or equipment's manufacturer functional specification. We have management shall ensure that requirement of this document are met. If there is some problem in the equipment, or it won't if it is a POCT equipment, you want to take it to a camp or somewhere, you should be knowing that the requirements of this document should be maintained, that equipment should be in the correct position, it should produce the good results of IQC results, equal of any precise results. So we have to follow all the guidelines which is required for maintaining that equipment. Now each item, what is important here is each item of the equipment should be uniquely labeled. Uniquely labeled means each item of the equipment, like there is a serial number on the equipment, and according we are on equipment requirements, each item of the equipment that can influence the activities, that can influence the results, should be uniquely labeled. Like for if you have an integrated system, you have a chemistry part, you have a immunoassay part, you have a one connector. So give a unique ID to the chemistry part, that this serial number 0582, its unique ID is equipment 1, E1. So it will be easier for you to remember it, and it will be easier for you to write it on the records also. So each item of the equipment that can influence the lab activity should be uniquely labeled by the lab or by the department, marked or otherwise identified, and a register should be maintained. And you have to maintain a register for it. Let's suppose you are changing your equipment. So serial number will be changed. You have deleted the previous serial number 05821, to which you have given the unique ID E1. So you will not use this ID for your new serial number, although you have deleted that. So you will use a new ID like E3 for that. So you have to uniquely label it, and you have to maintain a register for it. Then lab shall maintain and replace equipment as needed to ensure the quality of examination result. Whenever you have to maintain as per the manufacturer instructions. This is the daily maintenance. If they say you have to do a daily maintenance, you have to do a weekly maintenance, then monthly maintenance, you have to do that according to the manufacturer instructions, and you have to replace your equipment whenever it is required. Whenever it is troubling you, its breakdowns are more, results are not precise, on repeating your find variation has been observed, then you have to decide that it needs replacement or you want to upgrade your equipment, you should do it. Then equipment acceptance procedure. We will discuss it in detail in the later slides, but what is the equipment acceptance procedure is laboratory shall verify that equipment conforms to specified acceptability criteria before being placed or returned into the service. Like if you are buying a new equipment, you should ask what should be the pre-installation requirements. What is required for the equipment so that it can be installed and it can function in an appropriate manner. So you should, for acceptable criteria, you should ask you what should be the voltage requirements for it, what should be the space requirements for it, what should be the how many ports are required for UPS. So all this should be asked so that the installation is proper and it should equipment should function normally. The equipment used for measurement shall be capable of achieving either the measurement accuracy or the measurement uncertainty. It means when you are placing your equipment in the lab, you should verify the measurement accuracy that this is the manufacturer's guidelines that the achieved accuracy is 3%. You should verify it that the accuracy or the uncertainty which has been said by the manufacturer, we are meeting those guidelines. So that that is called IQ, OQ and PQ of the equipment, that its installation qualification, its performance qualification and its operational qualifications. These are IQ, OQ and PQ. They should meet for the valid results. Now, two notes are given in this. Note 1 is this includes equipment used in the lab, equipment on loan, equipment used in point of care testing, in associated or mobile facilities authorized by the lab. If some point of care instrument is placed in ICU, but it is under the control of laboratory, then you have to maintain that equipment. You have to prove its acceptance testing procedure. You should verify everything. The verification of note 2 is verification of equipment acceptance testing can be where relevant based on calibration certificate of the return equipment. Then equipment instructions for use. The do's and don'ts we for the equipment. Like what is the right procedure for startup? What is the right procedure for shutdown? What is the procedure or workflow for the equipment? Should be identifiable, should be pasted somewhere, should be easily retrievable, whatever it is. So lab shall have an appropriate safeguards to prevent unintended adjustments of the equipment. So unintended adjustments is like if the temperature requirement is 2 to 8 and it is today showing 7.7 or 7.8. Please don't manipulate. You should have a procedure that no one will change that. No one should try to change that. Only the service engineers should be allowed to do that. So it can lead to some kind of problem in your examination results. So unintended adjustments of the equipment should not be allowed. Equipment shall be operated by trained, authorized and competent personnel. It means when you are placing a new equipment and you should train your staff on it, you should have a list who all have trained on it. You should have to authorize them once training was done, and only the competent personnel is allowed to use that equipment. Instructions for use of equipment, as we have said, as per the manufacturer instructions, they should be readily available. It should be pasted. What are the precautions you have to take? What you will not do for this equipment? They should be clearly written somewhere and easily retrievable. Equipment shall be used as specified by the manufacturer unless validated by the laboratory. Equipment shall be used as you have to follow the manufacturer instructions for equipment. Then equipment maintenance and repair. The lab shall have a procedure. Lab shall have a preventive maintenance program. We have to follow the equipment manufacturer instructions. You have to follow the daily maintenance, monthly and weekly maintenance, 3 monthly maintenance, whatever has been said by the manufacturer. But along with that, you should have a preventive maintenance. Preventive maintenance क्या होती है? Preventive maintenance is like before ये shutdown हो उससे पहले हम पूरा system check कर लें एक बार, पूरा equipment देख लें. That is preventive maintenance. जो ब्रेक डाउन से को प्रिवेंट करें. That is preventive maintenance. Now preventive maintenance is usually once in a year, but it depend on your workload. आप मैन्युफैक्चर के इंस्ट्रक्शन फॉलो करें, या अगर आपको लगता है कि schedule should be done 6 monthly, a program should be available. It should be written somewhere on the equipment or in your records that the PM is due on this date. Once it was done, then it was written PM, next PM will due on. अगली PM हम कब करेंगे, ये PM हमने कब किया. Based on the manufacturer's instruction, deviation from manufacturer's schedule or instruction shall be recorded. आपको इसको रिकॉर्ड करना है. आपके पास एक डॉक्यूमेंट होना चाहिए. This equipment with unique ID this, with serial number this, with make this and model this. It's PM due on this, PM done on this and due on this, next PM. Along with that, it's calibration. So equipment shall be maintained in a safe working condition and working order. All the time, equipment should be in a safe working condition. This shall include its all kind of safety, electrical safety, any emergency stop devices, safe handling, disposal of hazardous materials related to that equipment should be by the authorized personnel. In case you feel that equipment is, some part is defective, right, and it is not functioning currently, you please label it that it is currently out of order, defective, or outside the specified requirement and shall be taken out for service. It shall be clearly labeled until it has been verified to perform correctly. Laboratory shall examine the effects of defect or deviation from specified requirement and initiate actions when non-conforming work occurs. It can lead to, if you will not write, if someone don't know this instrument is working the precise, can lead to some non-good work. When applicable, decontaminate the equipment. Decontamination of equipment is very essential just to make it not infectious to everybody. Before service, before repair or decommissioning, provide suitable space for repair and provide appropriate personal protective equipments whoever is working on that equipment. Then equipment adverse incident reporting. Adverse incidents, if happen with the equipment or accidents that can be attributed directly to the specific instrument shall be investigated and reported to the manufacturer or the supplier. Like adverse incidents, जैसे if some probe has broken suddenly, चलते चलते किसी equipment का probe टूट जाए, should inform to the company person. They will come it, they will repair it. You have to maintain a record for it. So this is adverse incident reporting. Some pipette, if you are pipetting it, but it is not, you are feeling ये loose हो गया and it is not taking the accurate volume, please inform immediately to the supplier or to the manufacturer. Same is some deep freezer, कोई उसमें से water leak हो रहा है, some part need to be replaced, it should be reported immediately to the supplier so that a necessary corrective action can be taken. Lab shall have a procedure for responding any manufacturer's recall or other notice. Time to time manufacturers की तरफ से अगर कोई notice आता है, we should read it, and if there is any recall or something, we should have a procedure and take actions recommended by the manufacturer. Sometimes they say equipment is this, but the buffer has been, concentration has been changed for this equipment. So उसके लिए आपको पूरा equipment दोबारा से इससे harmonize करना है. So you have to follow the manufacturer instructions for any adverse incident or any recalls or any notices which are given by the manufacturers. Then what are the equipment records? रिकॉर्ड्स शैल बी मेंटेन फॉर ईच आइटम ऑफ इक्विपमेंट, जैसे हमने साथ साथ कहा कि उसका रिकॉर्ड रखना है। सो दिस इज द लिस्ट ऑफ इक्विपमेंट रिकॉर्ड्स जो आपको मेंटेन करने हैं। इस इन रिकॉर्ड्स में क्या आएगा, मैन्युफैक्चरर एंड सप्लायर डिटेल्स आएंगी, मैन्युफैक्चर सो दैट आप उसको टाइमली कांटेक्ट कर सके। सो आपके पास एक लिस्ट होना चाहिए, हु इज द मैन्युफैक्चरर और सप्लायर ऑफ इट, who is the application manager, who is the engineer of the equipment, and what how to contact them, their phone numbers and email IDs. Sufficient information to uniquely identify each item of equipment, including its software and firmware. Then you should have a record of your purchase order, can be date of receipt क्या है, date of acceptance testing क्या है, and date of entering into service क्या है। एक्सेप्टेंस टेस्टिंग लाइक आपने रिसीव किया इंस्ट्रूमेंट, आफ्टर 15 डेज में आपने उसका वेरिफिकेशन प्रोसीजर कंप्लीट किया, IQ OQ PQ कंप्लीट किया, एंड देन आपने लेकिन सर्विस में नहीं डाला, आपने उसको यूज किया आफ्टर 2 मंथ्स। सो एक्सेप्टेंस टेस्टिंग का डेट अलग हो सकता है, एंटरिंग इनटू द सर्विस का डेट, कमीशनिंग का डेट अलग हो सकता है, एंड इट कुड बी द सेम ऑल्सो, सेम भी हो सकता है। सो यू शुड हैव अ रिकॉर्ड ऑफ दीज। Evidence that equipment conforms with specified acceptability criteria. Acceptance testing का criteria, उसका procedure, उसका process होना चाहिए, and it is meeting that acceptability criteria of yours which has been defined. उसका evidence you have to record it. Your location of your equipment. Let's suppose you have 2 labs in the premises. You have one emergency lab, you have one main lab, and you have 2 equipments of the same name. So for this equipment of serial number, this location is identical. It is in the main lab or in the emergency lab. Conditions when received, it is a new instrument or it is a reconditioned equipment or a used equipment. It should be clear. Usually all these things are available, are written on your purchase order. Then manufacturer instructions. Instructions, as I have said, do's and don'ts related, or any instructions, specific instructions for use of equipment or a simple workflow. Example, आपने F7 दबाया, फिर आपने equipment रख दिया, like how to process the controls, that procedure should be written over on the equipment so that if even if a new person joins can read the instructions and follow it. Your preventive maintenance schedule, that list you should have available, you have to maintain that, and if possible it should be pasted on the equipment, that this is the application name of the equipment, this is unique identity, this is engine name of the engineer and application tag, and the PM done on and next PM due on, so that whoever is working is daily looking into it and knows we now in the next month PM is due. So it's up to you how you want to maintain it. Then any maintenance activities performed by the lab or approved external services should be recorded. Any kind of repair done on the equipment, you should ask for a service report. Please provide a service report for the activity performed, or you should have an equipment breakdown register format in which you can do the entry that this is the breakdown of the equipment happened, who corrected it, when corrected, and for how long it was down. Repair. Next point is see damage, malfunction, modification or repair of the equipment. Then equipment performance records such as reports or either certificates of calibration or verification. If you are doing preventive maintenance, then along with that you can ask for a certificate of calibration of the equipment once in a year, that in the calibration they will certify that all your electrical signals, your Peltier temperatures and everything they have calibrated, and it is within that uncertainty limits, no one is crossing it. So you should ask for the certificate of calibrations or verifications, and you should maintain the performance. The time of preventive maintenance performance check वर्जन, उसमें हम precision testing करें, पहले हम calibrate करेंगे, after every major maintenance calibration will be done, then QC will be run, then precision testing will be done once in a year, then AMR analytical measurement range verification, and if required the carryover studies. So this you can do it at the time of PM, These are called performance records. You have to keep the record of that. Status of equipment such as active or in service, out of service, quarantine, retired, or obsolete. Record of that should be available. If it is out of service, please write out of service, but you should have a record when, since when it was out of service. You have complained to the company and they are still working on it. Some part is required which will arrive after 10 days, and after that that will be changed and equipment will be put in service. Or you have obsolete some equipment, please keep a record of your obsolete equipment also till the next assessment. These records shall be maintained and shall be readily available, retrievable, maintained and readily available for the lifespan of the equipment or longer as specified. At least from this assessment to the next assessment, all these records should be maintained. Now I'm coming to the formats, what we have read in the previous slides of equipment operations. I'm just showing you the formats for that. Like this is the format showing the equipment operation record. Equipment name you have to write. You can write the unique identification. It is chemistry analyzer oblique even. You can write, let's say, when if you have a startup time, like if you're working 24/7, then then you may not need it. But sometimes you have two equipment, one equipment is functioning in the morning and other is functioning in the night. Then you should have a machine startup time and a machine shutdown time. This should be recorded. It is for the good. Then you should have a history card of the equipment. You can maintain it in the form of register if you have, or you can maintain history card, which includes the name of the equipment, its serial number, who is the manufacturer of the equipment, what is the supplier's name and contact details, who is the engineer, what is his number, who is the authorized machine user, what is the current location of the machine, what is the maintenance schedule of it, who will be the trained. All this should come in the history record. Then material value of the equipment. Usually nowadays in auto analyzers, a maintenance sheet is built up in the equipment only. So what you can do is you are performing the maintenance. It will take the ID or the initials of this person who is maintaining the equipment. So what usually nowadays for auto analyzers persons do, they do the daily maintenance, sign it there, and at the end of the month they print that maintenance sheet. But for smaller equipments or for other equipments which you are using daily, if there is no sheet is built up in your equipment, you can make your sheet as maintenance schedule of the equipment. Write the name of the equipment with unique ID, and what there is first column daily, in below which you can write what all you will be doing in the daily maintenance. So right, like we will be doing probe cleaning, instrument cleaning, then we are running the wash solution. So write those 3-4 points. If you have performed it, just mark a tick over here, it has been done, who has done it, initials of that, and who have verified it, initials of that. This record is of 31 days. So if any weekly maintenance, what all you will doing in the weekly maintenance, just write the salient features after asking the manufacturer. You can write it here on the date you have done and initials. Who have done it should write the date and put their initials over here. Then monthly maintenance, if any is required. So on one sheet, you can record your daily maintenance is done, your weekly maintenance and monthly maintenance is done. This is the record for maintenance schedule. Then equipment operation or breakdown record. This record is, let's suppose you're working on the equipment, something happened and your instrument suddenly stopped. So you have to record the date and time of breakdown. Time should also come over here. That this is the equipment's unique ID. You can mention this every time. There's no need to write the serial number. You can write your unique ID if you have given. Then what kind of breakdown or error log can, जो भी error log के अंदर complaint आ रही है, what kind of complaint it is in the error log, you record that here. and action taken, that whether you restarted the equipment or you call up the engineer. इंजीनियर ने आपको अगर फोन पर कुछ कहा ये कर लीजिए, जस्ट रिकॉर्ड दैट। और उसके बाद अगर आपका इक्विपमेंट चल गया, सो राइट द डेट एंड टाइम। अगर नहीं, सो यू हैव टू वेट फॉर द इंजीनियर, वो will correct it, then you will write the next day's date अगर वो next day ठीक हुआ है। And the total downtime, whether your equipment was down for 2 hours or for 2 days, you will record that. And the signature of the technical manager available there or the head of the department, whoever is available. This record helps you in knowing the performance of your equipment, how frequent is your breakdowns or how less is your breakdowns. If you have a machine of two different makes, then the breakdown, whose breakdowns are more, next time you can show it कि the breakdowns of your machines are more, so we want to obsolete your document. This can help you in telling your performance to your head also, which one is a better for your work style or work culture. Then next is related to equipment acceptance testing. This is a linearity check certificate where whether you're doing it once in a year or at the time of installation of the equipment, you're verifying the analytical measurement range of your equipment. कि ये lower limit 0 से 1 point ऐसे 1 से 500 तक ये verify करता है इस range को. So what you will do is कि 500 की value का sample लीजिए, उसको 1:2 में चलाइए, 1:4 में चलाइए, 1:8 में चलाइए, होता है। The graph should be linear, but for your ये 3 के बाद नहीं हो, so for your linearity will be starting from 3 to 500. So this or it could be from, you have to verify the stated linearity कि जो manufacturer कहा है whether my equipment is following that linearity or not. So you can record your findings in this form. Then there is a decontamination schedule of the equipments कि all pipettes you will decontaminate daily, or you will be doing once in a week. You can record timers, your thermometers, who is doing it and verifying it ki yes, it has been done properly. Equipment decontamination weekly if you are doing it for all centrifuges and incubators, monthly if you are doing for refrigerators and microscopes, and decontaminations like once in 4 months you will be doing for your bigger equipment. So decontamination procedure for bigger equipments is usually at the time of preventive maintenance, is either 6 monthly or yearly. Now next is method selection and instrument comparison. Now we have the equipment, we have to select the method, but all we need to verify it desirable, what should be the desirable characteristics, what should be the performance specifications, what should be the performance characteristics or linear regression analysis, what we need to incorporate. Now next important we will discuss, because as we have seen in the equipment operations, all the requirements of the standard we have seen, all the formats which are required to be maintained we have seen. Now important topic over here is validation, verification and calibration of the equipment. Validation is usually done by the manufacturer. They validate it. It is an extensive procedure. What we are doing is we are verifying the manufacturer's claim. So usually in the labs, we are verifying the manufacturer's claim. So what should be the principle of evaluation for anything is verification of instrument requirements for space and service, extent of technical training, clarity and usefulness of instruction manual कितना होगा, assessment of safety कि वो how safe is to work on that equipment, उस जो हम ले रहे हैं उसकी जो किट्स है उनका linearity कहाँ तक है, उनका प्रिसीजन कितना है, उनकी अनसर्टेनिटी ऑफ मेजरमेंट वी शुड सी कि उनकी जो कैलिब्रेटर्स हैं वो उनकी ट्रेसेबिलिटी है, उनका कैरी ओवर तो नहीं है. फ्यू मशीन्स दे आर यूजिंग डिस्पोजेबल टिप्स सो देयर इज नो कैरी ओवर, few machines they have only one probe so there is carry over. Analytical sensitivity and specificity क्या है और उसका एनालिसिस का टाइम क्या है. लाइक फ्यू केमिस्ट्रीज दे आर प्रोसेस्ड इन फ्यू सेकेंड्स, फ्यू मिनट्स. Immunoassays are 18 minutes, which का incubation time is 30 minutes for immunoassays. So what is the analysis time? What is your requirement? This we have discussed. Like instrument maintenance, it is as per manufacturer's recommendation, daily, weekly, monthly, PM, and that instrument should be under AMC or CMC. Then what is the important uh, in equipment is IQ, OQ, and PQ. It is IQ is installation qualification, OQ is operational qualification, and PQ is performance qualification. So usually when we install a new equipment, at the time of installation, we verify manufacturer's claims. So that is called IQ, OQ, and PQ. There are some pre-installation requirements. Definitely ask for those pre-installation requirements. Even the company asks you, show us the place. We have certain pre-installation prerequisites. We are requested to comply with us. Like site assessment first is कि कहाँ पर आपका इक्विपमेंट रखा जाएगा, परचेज ऑर्डर, इनवॉइस ऑफ इट. देन नंबर ऑफ पार्ट्स इसके अंदर कितने आएंगे, वेदर इट इज वन बिग यूनिट और देर आर स्मॉल स्मॉल पार्ट्स और उनको जोड़ना होगा. इसका ऑपरेशन मैनुअल आएगा या सॉफ्ट कॉपी होगा. व्हाट इज द प्रोसीजर ऑफ द इक्विपमेंट, इस पे क्या होगा, एंड हु ऑल विल बी ट्रेन्ड ऑन दिस इक्विपमेंट. सो इंस्टॉलेशन क्वालिफिकेशन इज विजुअल इंस्पेक्शन. आपने देखा आपका इक्विपमेंट आ गया, जितने पार्ट्स आए, जितने परचेज ऑर्डर में है उतने आए, वेरीफाई इट. देन असेंबली, हाउ मच टाइम द असेंबली ऑफ दैट इक्विपमेंट विल टेक. देन साइट प्रेपरेशन एंड एनवायरमेंटल रिक्वायरमेंट्स. व्हाट इज द पावर चेक, कितना चाहिए. ट्रेनिंग एंड पोस्ट ट्रेनिंग इवैल्यूएशन डॉक्यूमेंटेशन. सपोर्ट सर्विस, the name and the contact details, and review and approval of installation qualification. Yes, that instrument has been assembled properly. It has been based on the site which has been finalized for it. The power supply is okay. It has been connected to the UPS. Trainings and post trainings will be done on it. And the name of the supplier is, supplier will also sign it, and you will also sign and approve it. Then operational qualifications. Once it has been installed, the company has a procedure to put it in operation. They will do certain calibrations. So usually आप देखेंगे, if you want to start the entire chemistry and immunology, you have 70 tests to start on that equipment, but company has a selected टेस्ट. जैसे कि हम इस मशीन पे TSH चलाएंगे, क्रेडनिन चलाएंगे, ये कुछ टेस्ट चलाएंगे इनिशियली फॉर ऑपरेशनल. So usually company select those which uses the maximum parts of the equipment. So calibration schedule and procedure, what is there? You should know that what all they have in the operational qualification. That इससे qualify कर लिया आपने operations को कि इसके operations ठीक हैं. They will do the maintenance, then they will perform the calibration. They will do linearity and regression analysis, precision testing, and carryover for those few tests. They check the few test samples, like जो already tested हैं, उन samples को they will run on these equipment, and then they will give you the documentation. Operational. Yes, this equipment is operational. You can use it for the patient testing. This is operational qualification. So this is usually the company's protocol or schedule. कि वो अपने schedule के हिसाब से they will put your that instrument into operation. Now, after that is performance qualification. Performance is you want to verify. What they have done is only few 4 or 5 tests. But what you want to verify maybe for more methods, like for 20 or 25 methods. जिनका for let's say 2 enzymes, all electrolytes, few amino acids, CBC. If you want to verify the performance of the kits, it comes under the performance qualification, in which you can use the IQC sample. You can run your IQC for few days. Then you can verify the performance. Yes, let's say for a week, for 10 days, the IQC performance is okay. So it means the results are accurate, which determines which state you the accuracy of the equipment. Then EQUAS. You can run कोई दूसरी मशीन पे जो EQUAS चल रहा है, you can run that EQUAS on this new equipment. You can analyze the results. according to the mean given in that EQUAS sheet. So you can evaluate the results of the EQUAS, whether all the results are meeting the acceptable criteria or some outlier is there. Then if performance is for certain little longer time, let's say for 10 days or 7 days, then daily your trained staff will do a maintenance so that he will come to know what are the problems during the maintenance, or that person needs supervision initially for maintaining that equipment by the by the company person. So maintenance he will do, who will be the key operators for it. So all this will be recorded along with their raw data will be maintained, and finally you will review it whether it is meeting your acceptable criteria, which you will mention in the procedure, and you will approve it. So final approval signature is yours. So this is all about the equipment operations, equipment maintenance, equipment installation of a new equipment, which is to be done in this. You should follow all the safety protocols related to that equipment, whether any physical hazard, any chemical hazard while on working, biohazard, and disposal of biomedical waste. Your equipment should be connected. If it is a liquid waste, it should be connected to the effluent plant first. If it is a reagent kits which are coming out for the equipment, should be disposed of as per biomedical waste guidelines. You are working with the chemicals because reagents are chemicals for that equipment, or hypo while the equipment maintenance. Please follow all the safety protocols which has been instructed by the manufacturer. Then during the IQC you are using on this, the equipment should have a facility of LJ charts and best selection of best rules on that equipment. You can, equipment should able to record your results for a longer time and should give you a comparative of your coefficient of variations, and should be able to give you the moving averages. So when you are taking an equipment, just be careful about this. You can ask that my equipment should have a facility of giving us the LJ charts, moving averages, and what all C for is required for IQC. Nowadays, equipments are coming like who have inbuilt facility of centrifugation, sample storing, reagent storing, IQC storing. So, according to your need, you should ask. Thank you very much.